I never do lives on here. I usually record them and all that stuff, but I wanted to do a live and just try it for a little while. This country is in shambles right now. I'd love to know what you think about that too, especially depending on what side you're on. But I don't see how anyone on the left or the right in our country right now can be happy with the state of the union currently. We have ICE in our city. We have terrorists, state sanctioned terrorists in our cities killing American citizens. Like, this isn't the country that I grew up and cherished and loved. We don't live in a country right now that I'm proud of. I mean, it's hard for me to say this, but I am proud to be an American. It was difficult to say because I'm not proud of everything that's happening right now. And a lot of the content that we've been making lately is, it's coping. We're trying to deal with the pain and the fear that this regime is putting into the whole country, into the hemisphere, really. Like, we're seriously considering attacking Greenland, attacking Canada. We're considering attacking Cuba and Venezuela and God knows who else we're thinking of invading. And why? You want to know what I think personally? I think this is all to cover up the Epstein files. We should never forget about the Epstein files. Don't let them forget about it. There's going to be so much noise over the next 3 years that is the main topic. I'd bet money on that. I think all of this other distractions, all of the ICE raids, all of this talk about taking over the hemisphere and taking over other sovereign nations in our hemisphere, I believe that it's to cover up the Epstein files. He is obviously in the Epstein files. Obviously. And the whole Republican apparatus around him, the MAGA apparatus around him, is actively covering up the child sex trafficking ring of Jeffrey Epstein. Do you remember this was maybe when the whole like Pizzagate came out, and there was a lot of viral videos going on from Q. Remember when Q was a thing, QAnon? And they started this whole conspiracy theory. Maybe it's not a conspiracy theory, but now the more I talk about it, it's starting to feel like it was projection on behalf of MAGA. Because I remember that time frame, everybody on the MAGA side, they were really hyping all of these videos about like sexual offenders in like locals. This was happening at the local level, like where I lived in Carson City. I kept remembering all these posts that would come up about accused sex offenders in the area. So much so that I was going crazy. I went to a house one time in Carson City because some of my friends were posting about this supposed sex offender. I don't know what I was going to do over there. I was a pretty bad alcoholic at the time. But the fact that, these videos came across our social media feeds back then, and I kind of took action. I went to this guy's house or girl. I don't know who it was. I didn't knock on the door or anything, but the fact that it got me there. What if I was a crazy person with a gun? And what if he didn't do anything? There was no fact checking back then. But the reason I say that is because there was a whole push on social media to tell the narrative about this big cabal of pedophile elites in Hollywood and the world or whatever. This big cabal, child sex trafficking, whatever. Remember the hydrochrome, something, whatever that was. They were supposedly taking blood from these children and injecting it into them for youth, like the fountain of youth type of thing. Anyway, it lasted a long time, and they created this narrative about a cabal of Hollywood elites or just worldwide elites that all participated in a child sex trafficking ring. So that was the MAGA narrative. This is probably 2019, 2020. And so that narrative, it kind of faded, like the QAnon stuff faded, and people still say the cabal, like there's a pedophile ring or whatever. But my theory on it is that was all projection, coming from the top. Donald Trump. Hit subscribe if you're here. That was all projection coming from Donald Trump. He was guilty, and he was creating a narrative that it was the Democrats, it was Bill Clinton, it was these Hollywood elites, it was everybody else except for Donald Trump, right? So that, to me, as I look back at it, seems like it was the MAGA party just projecting what they were actually doing, their actual um, participation in this crazy pedophile ring. It was the MAGA party. And if you look it up online, I've done it, there is more child sex offenders or predators on the MAGA side, just statistically. And it tracks because they are the loudest about saying they want something done about the pedophiles. And then when stuff comes out about like Donald Trump being in them, they're the first ones to defend it. We made a ton of episodes on Almost Above Average. Hit subscribe. They're down below. But I am blown away, especially on Instagram, by the amount of comments that I get from MAGA just saying the wildest shit, like like the election was stolen, things like that. Like, it is so brainwashed and ingrained in every MAGA brain that I can't even get through to them anymore. There's no productive conversation with someone no productive conversation around like society and community with a person in the MAGA party. And I'll differentiate the MAGA party and the Republicans. The Republicans and the MAGA are totally different. The way I kind of view it now, I see the Democrats and the Republicans, they're kind of right here in the middle. They're kind of right in the center. The Republicans are a little right of center, Democrats a little left of center. But for the most part, most of us are right here. I don't like some of the things my Republicans friends say. They don't like some of the things my ass says. But we have common ground around most things, and most things between Democrats and Republicans, we can at least agree on some facts. Not all of them, but at least Republicans and Democrats can have a conversation, and you can disagree and it's fine. That's what it's supposed to be. But the MAGA party is not that. The MAGA party, it seems like they wake up first thing in the morning and they go check Twitter, or check Truth Social or whatever, and they see what the marching orders, whatever the narrative of the day is. What is Donald Trump saying today? And without thinking about it, they just go on their social media and they just regurgitate it. And if you think Donald Trump tells the truth, I don't even want to insult you. There's nothing anyone can do about that. That is, I don't want to disparage you, but it's a brainwashing. Like, so much propaganda has been shoved, especially if you watch Fox News or Newsmax. They are straight up state regime media now, on the level of North Korea and Russia. We are there. And if you can't see that, you don't want to see it, Well, what I was saying earlier, it blows my mind, all the comments that, some of these clips get with people just blindly defending Trump, blindly defending ICE. Tell me this. We all watched the video of Alex Preddy. We've all watched all of the videos of the Alex Preddy execution. I'm going to call it an execution because it was an execution. Now, here's an example of the right-wing MAGAsphere talking point tornado. So I think this was yesterday, maybe even the day before. But after the country kind of established, like, yeah, we all watched it. It was an execution. Okay, we get that. The narrative from the right, Kristi Noem and Donald Trump, the first things they said after the killing was they blamed domestic terrorist. He was a violent agitator. But they paint him as a horrible human being, right? And since then, we found out that he helps veterans of our country. He is passionate about our veteran community. And everyone in his life sings his praises. So he was a good person. Now, the videos from yesterday, the day before, they came out and they're trying to change the narrative. So the video of Alex Preddy from the day before or a week before is something else. The video shows him spitting on a cop, and you can see it as the cop gets in the car, or ICE. He's not a cop. As the ICE agent gets in the car, he spits on him, and when the ICE agent realized he was spit on, then he gets out of the car. The whole, vehicle, everyone gets out of the vehicle like they're gonna go jump him, and they do. They rough him up, and the reports were he broke a rib or something. So I don't know. I'm trying to think about my own bias here, because I don't think he's violent per se. Now, you can make the argument that him spitting on an ICE agent and kicking the vehicle is an act of violence. I can see that, and I'll give you that. But does that justify the execution style killing after his gun was removed? You can see it in the video. His gun was removed, and then all of a sudden he's catching a hot one to the back, and then 10 other shots come from somewhere. How necessary was any of those shots? None of those shots were necessary. He was unarmed, and there was like 5 or 6 of those ICE agents. If you're so untrained with 5 or 6 people and you can't take down one person, you're in the wrong line of work. You're definitely in the wrong line of work. So I'm having trouble dealing with what's happening in our communities. Let me know. What do you guys think? How are you guys doing? Mackenzie, Preston, what's going on, guys? Thanks for popping in. I do appreciate it. Hit subscribe if you're here still. I put out a lot of content. I rarely go live, but if these start going well, maybe I'll do some more of them. But what is happening in our country? It doesn't look familiar anymore. I am not excited to call myself an American. And if you look at like how we're being shown on the world stage, like how other countries are talking about us on their news networks and in their societies, we are a joke. America has become the butt of the world's biggest joke. Like, we are looked at as a pathetic nation right now. All of our friends, like Canada, all of our allies, they are now linking up with each other. This whole new world is aligning without America. And it seems like we're aligning with Russia, Saudi Arabia, North Korea. Like we're aligning with countries once considered enemies. And that's un-American, right? Not saying that because Russia was our enemy, they have to always be our enemy. But no, like, we'll start taking you a little more serious when you have less corruption and, you're not being a bad actor on the world stage. There was a time when the United States was looked up to kind of like the police of the world. And I think that is where we want to be. We want to have our thing in the world. What we did have. We were looked to as the world leader, the biggest, most powerful military on planet Earth, biggest, GDP, blah, blah, blah. But now the reasons that we were so profitable, is that not the word? Prosperous, is because of these alliances, because of our alliances with Canada. Do you know how much stuff we trade with Canada? And now because of Donald Trump, Canada's finding other friends. They're finding other places to buy their stuff. They're boycotting American companies. They are having an impact on our society. They're cutting, I know a lot of them aren't even taking American tourists. So, and a lot of Canadian tourism, like businesses in America that have big markets from Canada as far as tourism, they're losing their businesses from Canada. This is all Trump's fault. And the farmers. Like, Trump has done this to the farmers twice. I am blown away that a lot of these farmers still keep voting for him. We lost all of our soybeans to like Venezuela. China stopped buying soybeans from us for a while. Like, what about what is happening in the United States right now would say we are killing it as a country right now? We have violence in the streets. The violence is coming from the government. This is why the Second Amendment was created. when our government becomes a bunch of dumb fucks, we can stand up with our guns and be like, no, you can't do that. How come we're not doing that? You know, I think it's because there's a lot of creators. Like, I have ideas on how to help the impact of ICE in our communities, but I don't want to say them for fear of getting arrested. Don Lemon got arrested yesterday for covering a protest, doing his job, journalism, reporting. He was arrested. Jimmy Kimmel was fired for a day until the backlash came back, and America was like, dude, you're silencing free speech. Are we America? Are we the land of the free still? Do you feel free? I don't. I'm a content creator. I am a little bit afraid of saying some stuff. There has been a lot of reports of Facebook, anti-Trump Facebook posts going out, and then FBI showing up at their door. This is freaking Russia where we're living right now. So, you know, and I don't even know, how do we do it? Trump is going after voting records now to fix the next election. They raided Georgia, the voting spot. Remember the place where he called and said, hey, I just need to find 10,780 votes because we don't have enough. If you can find those, or he didn't say if, he said, I need you to find those. And luckily, the Republicans in Georgia stood on principle. They stood on the Constitution. They're like, no, that's illegal. That's against the Constitution. We're not going to lie and put you as the president of the United States. And good for them. Good for them for doing it, even though they got raided today, so the voting records can be taken. Governor Walz received a letter from, was it Pam Bondi, requesting the voter records. He is actively trying to fix the next election in front of all of us. I don't hear anyone on the MAGA side saying anything about that. Like, if you cared about fake elections and you think that Donald Trump won the 2020, now he's actively fixing the elections in front of us, and you're not going to say shit about it. That just shows me the MAGA party is fundamentally unserious. You're unserious. And attack me in the comments. I don't care. I'll get after you. In fact, if anybody from MAGA here is watching, come on the podcast. Let's debate some points. Let's have a spirited conversation about what is happening in this country. If you have some genuine points you can change my mind on, I am open to listening. I want to know why you think that. And I have a hunch it's because you follow these right-wing creators that don't really know anything. They just have an opinion just like you. And it's easy to cling on to them. I guess in that same respect, you could call me the same thing. Like, people left-leaning are the only ones that are going to watch this. But that's not what I want. Like, it shouldn't be I only get to talk to Democrats now because those are the people I align with. I align with so many people. I have tons of friends on every part of the political spectrum. And I want to get to a place where we can at least agree on the facts, where we can both look at the sky and both be like, yes, that is blue. Is it blue to you? It's blue to you? Okay. Now we have one set of facts, and now we can debate from there. But if we can't even agree on basic, easy stuff like the 2020 election, there was absolutely no evidence. Like, the only reason anyone still says that he won the election is because Trump keeps repeating it. And now he's going all in trying to get the voting records from the 2020 election in Georgia to try to overturn it. This is fascist shit. This is authoritarian shit. He's fixing the elections. He has an army of untrained thugs in the city, killing people and kidnapping Americans. Like, this isn't the America that I know and love, But thanks for listening to my rant. And if you're still here, I do appreciate it. I would love it if you would hit subscribe. I'm Chris McIntyre. This is the Almost Above Average podcast. You can find it on any podcast platform. And then I'm also on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So follow the Almost Above Average podcast. And thank you for listening to this rant. I hope you have a great day. See ya.